my pronouns, so it's not normal to me.
You don't, but I think, because I feel like the person was probably offended because they felt like you were not honoring whoever they are, right? But you wouldn't have known that.
Still to this moment, I don't know what their pronouns are. So in that
they didn't offer
circle, we still don't know. So I'll go as far as saying I perceive.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Starts now. Hey, what's up, and welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. We have a couple changes for the day. We won't have host Way, but Miss Dana Carr, Executive Director of LTYC, will be here at our 5:30 point. So definitely stay tuned, stay locked in. We'll have an interesting conversation with her. She's an educator, she's a mom, she's a wife. She has a number of creative credentials, and we're going to learn a little bit about her story and what it is that she does, and learn a little bit more about the organization that she runs now, LTYC, Leaders of Tomorrow Youth Center. So with that being said, today one of the first things that I want to address is one, that my shirt looks jacked up, but one of the things that I wanted to address is parents relationships with teachers. Now this month it seems like I'm going to focus a little bit more on not so much what the problems are, but finding solutions. But in order for us to find solutions, we have to first uncover and become aware of what the problems are. And for me, I have noticed that just the relationships between parents and teachers are a little strained. We're going to talk more about that once Dana gets here, and how we can go about some solutions in bettering and strengthening those relationships. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about that I'm starting to see, and it's something that's always been there, if you have multiple children, normally your oldest child or your most responsible child becomes kind of like the secondary or third in line for, caretaking for the children. And I want to make aware to parents that can sometimes be a hindrance to children. Now, there are a couple type of young people that I work with. One, that quote unquote at-risk youth. Children have been in trouble, children who are kind of trying to get better or taking the steps, or are in programming that is helping them to better themselves. And we often lean on them and giving them responsibility to help them. But don't let things that you need to get done become a distraction for the things that they need to do for themselves. I never have really agreed with children being a babysitter for other children, and I know the older some children get, the more it becomes necessary. So maybe once or twice throughout the week or the month, but it should not be an everyday thing. One, because that child needs to be preparing for the things that they need to do in life. And I've noticed, and in my personal experience, putting that type of responsibility on a child can cause them to grow up faster than what they're supposed to, and take away some of the, distract them from some of the things that they need to do, like homework, socializing, and just being a child. I think that can take away with it. And I only bring that up because I've been, in the last couple of weeks, some of the young people that I'm working with, that has been an issue, and I don't know how to address it. And I'm not at a space where I want to necessarily address it to parents, because I don't think parents take information like that too well. But that's another question that I'm going to subject that I'm gonna kind of ask Dana about once she gets here. One of the things that I online, I have a couple questions that I wanted to ask to individuals, and at the end of the show I'm going to kind of post that, and maybe throughout the show I'll post those questions. But today we're talking to another individual, a boss in her field, and just the idea of being a leader and what that means and how that interferes with or is a part of your everyday life. So for me, what is it to be a leader? And I'll ask that question. This week will be that week that I ask that question, and then the larger topic for October, I'll post that, and that'll be a part of our topic matters starting on Friday. So today was a scheduled show. I have been a part of this mentoring program since the kind of towards the end of the summer, and just the challenge of giving what you have to someone else in experience platform, and trying to give them the knowledge that you have and options. I don't ever give people information as fact. It's my experience that I'm giving to you as an option. And for me, I learned a long time ago, and in order to make a decision, often you have to look outside of yourself, and that could be just becoming aware of your surroundings or the things that are part of your life, the people, asking questions and getting insight, and then taking what is naturally an instinct for you, putting all that together, taking out whatever doesn't apply, and that's your decision. And that's how I normally make my decisions. I lean not just on one side of that, where I'm asking people what I should do or just going with instincts. I sometimes try to find a healthy balance. More so lately, I've been kind of leaning towards myself a lot more, because instinctually I've had desires that didn't always match up to what people around me were saying. So I had to find out what my space was. But in starting this week from last week, I am inviting a lot of people that are specifically in the arts field, because as an artist, this is where I found a lot of my struggle. Outside of this, I'm a normal individual, but within the arts, I'm really awkward in how I've been making decisions lately, and it's more so been about finding the right people to be in your space and on your team and partnering with a lot of people. I invited, on last Friday's show, I invited Naomi and The Truth, because they represent two people who are building within themselves. And I've been just observing a lot, because the challenges that I've been having have been more so bringing I don't want to say the wrong individual, but I can say that, bringing the wrong individual into your space and allowing that to hurt you or help you make decisions. And I no longer do I want to bring anybody. And when I say the wrong person, it's not necessarily that person is bad. It's just the wrong person for what it is that I want. And I don't ever, in me going into anybody's stuff, I'm really sensitive to that, because I don't want to take over and I don't want to not be useful. But you have to ask yourself, does this align with what I want to do? Before you say yes to anybody coming on or being a part of what you're doing, does this make sense for what I want to do or what I want to be or what I have going on already? Stop just helping people for the sake of helping. If it does not match up to what you are doing, then there's no reason for you to do it. You don't have to do it. And I have found that in us doing that, we sometimes cause ourselves a lot more trouble than we need to, because we're not strong enough to say yes or no, or this doesn't work for me, or all those things. But I'm really interested in hearing what advice people out there have for individuals that are kind of finding themselves in their work and their passion and their journey. I've been asking a lot lately that idea of how do you build your team? And this is, I've gotten a lot of feedback and a lot of information on how other people have found that support system. And I need to turn this sound off. and finding those support systems. But I just think it's really based on your individual self. I am used to working by myself, so working with anybody has been a struggle, because I'm the person that in school I used to remember doing any group projects. I'll just take over the whole thing, do it myself, turn it in, and let everybody else get the grade. And often that made them look bad because it was obvious they didn't know what the outcome was or what the project was, or because I just did it myself. But I've had to learn how to, sometimes step back and let people handle their own problems, and not let my personality affect how I relate to people, how I work with people. And you have to let people stay in their lane. I'm not going to ever fail, and I'm not going to let somebody else make me fail. So if you're not pulling your weight, I'm definitely going to take over and try at least to get you to get on board. And if you're not receptive to that, I'm just going to keep it moving and make sure I get it done. But in me doing that, I sometimes can push out any possibility of just making this work and helping it to grow and adding any type of success to it. I'm gonna save some of my conversation about education and the arts for once Dana gets here, because she has a plethora of knowledge and just information being a leader. But just where are you in your journey? And what is the struggle in that part of it? And how are you handling it? How are you moving through it? And how are you, I want to figure out how to say it, but how are you finding success within your struggle or despite your struggle? How are you pushing forward? And I guess that's our question for today. How are you pushing past the struggle of what you're doing? And we're going to take a quick break soon, but I want to remind you all, if you want to be a guest on the show, if you want to advertise with us, definitely hit us up, the Artist Exchange Radio Show at gmail.com. I'm also here as station manager in charge of bringing on new shows. So if you've ever thought about having a show, or if you want to, possibly bring a new show here, thank you. Definitely hit us up. And we'll be back. We'll take a quick commercial break here live on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back only on BeExposedRadio.com.
This is a Poverty ENT exclusive. Next stop, Texaco. Strapped up, you already know. Fuck niggas hate, that's how it goes. Bros with me, yeah, it's time to go. That's how it goes. Bros with me, yeah, it's time to go. 50 rounds, I'm a fool with it.
Thought you was gonna have my money today.
Man, it is what it is.
Then last week you told me your wife was cooking.
Man, it is what it is.
Then again, I don't think I want your wife cooking because you don't like it.
Well, it is what it is.
This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K. Check us out every Friday on B.O.S.S Radio. It is what it is. 9/11.
Are they ready to? I know they're not ready to accept it, but yeah, exactly. That's my whole thing. Like, how many of them are really ready to think about it like that?
None.
You know, like
I think the problem is
like
even I don't even know how we got here, but it's inbred. You're not born to hate people. You're not born to distinguish between black and white and Asian and Hispanic. That's something that you're taught. You're taught. Point blank, period. My daughter came home and told me that her white teacher was black. Maybe it's because it's how she treated her. She don't see any color. But when it comes to all her friends, all her friends are mixed. All of her friends have a white parent, black, African, Hispanic, other parent.
So
children don't see color. You breed your children. Not breed.
Right.
You raise your children to see that.
Yeah, most definitely.
They don't see racism.
Well, I guess
I met a little girl who had a black doll, and she said because the black dolls are prettier than the white dolls. But then I've taken a black doll and a white doll and put it in front of two kids. And it's a study that they've done before. You put it in front of two kids, and you put it in front of a kid, and you ask them which one is the nice one.
Man, it is what it is. Man, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is.
This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K. Check us out every Friday on B.O.S.S Radio at 9/11.
Whatever happened to the times when we cared for one another? We share the same respect. What is happening? We're trading what's important for shiny things. I can't allow this blasphemy. It's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Don't lose yourself, stay on track. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that. Full of the things that we've overcome. Full of unspoken battles we've won. You're so much better than that. Sometimes the truth ain't always catchy as rap. Stop chasing cheese or you'll get stuck in a trap. Go get your crown and never render it back. No. Why would you treat yourself like that? We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. You're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that. You're way too gifted to stop and listen. It's condescending, not to mention all of our ignorance.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com. I was meeting with a friend yesterday, and I've gotten to the point where don't ask me a question because the truth is going to come out. And
exactly.
Just don't do it.
If you ain't looking for the truth, don't come to me.
Don't do it because I can't hold my tongue. And she wants to be this stylist, boutique, but you're not doing anything in that nature, and I can't take you seriously if you're not doing those things. And I understood why people didn't take me seriously because I found myself in somebody else's lane. I was good at what I was doing and what I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do, and I think that that's a big problem that people face now, like you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular. It's getting that person money. It's getting that person applause. Oh, I want applause. Right. I want money. Let me stand over here behind them.
And then a lot of times people aren't honest with themselves either. Like I was thinking earlier today, I've been woke for almost 2 days, so so you get honesty, yes. And I was thinking, like, you know,
the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
You're like an internal bleeder. Can't see your pain, but it can silently kill ya. So deeply wounded, but don't say a thing. Too afraid of what the people may say or think. So you just sit there and you suffer in silence. Your pride won't let you just uncover your secret. Don't wanna look weak in your image, it ain't worth losing. So you just act as if it's nothing happening. God sees you, and God hears you. Yes, God loves you. You're like an internal bleeder. Can't see your pain, but it can silently kill ya. Suicidal, depressed, but you won't say a thing. Too afraid of what the people may say or think. You feel alone even though the people surround you. Popping pills every night even though you know they can't solve it. The emotional pain, it just seems way too heavy. Your mind is racing, wanna scream, somebody help me.
Like the one thing you always gotta remember is people gonna try to project their insecurities onto you. But you can't listen to what them niggas saying. You gotta get out here and do your shit regardless. You gonna do what you love for the rest of your life anyway. So why not turn that shit into something? Be a man of everything you say. This shit bigger than me, man. Like yeah, I'm good and all that, but you know what I mean? I ain't shit without y'all. What you up to, just go hard. Don't matter. Can you imagine how I really having nothing is? Stomach growling, you ain't got no food in the fridge. Surviving on a jail diet of water and bread. No father figure, that's cause my father did. Mom bringing different niggas in and out the crib. No money, so you seen it's less than all your friends. But it a joke because your mother was a crackhead. Older sister hoeing off, giving up.
There's a rumor going around that Tyler Perry and Oprah are beefing. Well, let me tell you about this. Tyler, okay, told Oprah.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. And like I said, Josue will not be joining us this Monday, but we're going to get him back. But like I said, Miss Dana Carr, Executive Director of LTYC organization, is here with us.
Hi, everybody.
And she's been here before, but she was on Just a Bit Outside's radio show. But we're going to ask her a couple quick things. And Mondays is normally not my gripe session, but like my kind of venting, just about the politics of school and professionally, of course, because this is my boss. So
Of course. Oh, yes, always.
But
always
just my frustration with just the lack of care that I think a lot of our young people are getting. And I say some of them because there are some districts where they have the resources and they have the money to be able to do those things. And I'm noticing the ones that don't our children are getting the shorter end of the stick. But this woman right here is working to make that possible via the arts and enrichment and just bringing the arts into the classroom so we can kind of balance those things out. Because the first thing that normally goes when the budget is cut is the enrichment program.
Absolutely.
And I know, and Dana, because Dana grew up in the art system as well. She went to the School of Arts and such. We know how important it is to have arts as a part of our school day, and not just like an after school program that, you know, you get a couple hours or hours. So, but I would not be here if there was not teaching artists. So I wouldn't have the need to give what I do to students if I didn't have teaching artists growing up. So please tell me the significance of your artist life, just being an artist and your art education.
Yeah, it's so important, and I love what you're saying, and it's really what we try to do at LTYC, which is we believe that every child's education should be inclusive of the arts, and like you said, not an afterthought, not just a couple of hours a week, but it really should be embedded in everything that they do. Having professional artists come into the classroom, going on field trips to have those experiences, having master classes, and being exposed to the arts in some way, shape, or form every day. So even in math and science and English and social studies, that was one of the things that kept me. I was never a great math student. I always excelled in English.
Is that a part of being an artist?
I was horrible at math, but when I had teachers that could connect math to being creative, and whatever that looked like, those were the moments that I excelled. And I think a lot of our students, they're very hands-on, they're very tactile, they're used to collaborating, and the arts just kind of lends itself to that.
And that's one of the things that I know, even like I have preschoolers this year, and it's the first time ever, but I'm learning how to take art and kind of connect it with what else they're doing, like memorization and a speech. A lot of my students this year have speech IEPs, and helping them to learn how to speak with the arts. They don't even realize they're learning theater because they're so focused on, learning how to speak well. And public speaking, that's an important part. And even if you don't call it theater class, that's still a part of their educational life. They're going to have to learn how to get up in front of a class and talk.
And anything that they do.
Anything. And just connecting that to their education and letting them see the significance of it. How has the arts helped you in terms of not only you went through the school system in the arts programs, but just how has it helped you just in your everyday?
Oh yeah, I would say definitely with just being able to be flexible. My background is as a theater artist, so all my theater artists out there know, just learning about improvisation and having that kind of hammered into me has helped me to be able to be a quick thinker, and to be able to respond to things in the moment. And again, with any type of teaching profession, you have to be flexible. You can have a great lesson plan, and the students will come in and it just won't go the way that you expected it to go, and you have to be able to on your feet in the moment switch what you're doing. And even at certain situations, administratively, I may think I'm going in one direction and I have to be able to switch. So I think those are some of the ways, and also just being a creative problem solver. We always say at LTYC we like to be solution based. So goodness knows, like you mentioned, with all of the different challenges that come up with the school system, or individuals or children, we have to be creative in how we are solving some of those challenges.
And it says a lot about just where we are in our communities, where education isn't put at the forefront, because these people will eventually be the people that are wiping our tails and making laws for us and governing our communities. And if we don't put that, especially that creative part, into them, it's gonna be really hard. I've been nervous, one, because I don't feel like we will have a good Social Security when we get to the ages of our grandparents and such, and then all the other problems, because now young people don't know how to communicate.
Oh goodness, it's terrible.
So as theater people,
I'm literally in the moment of having conversations with my daughter, who's 12, and of course she has a phone, and if you left it up to her, she would be in her room 24/7 on her phone. If she's not talking to her friends or FaceTiming somebody, she's streaming something on Netflix, and just everything everything is just so, like you said, there's no room for creativity. So I'm like, we're gonna, you're gonna come downstairs, we're gonna talk, we're gonna have a conversation. I'm making her take dance again this year. Like, I just, like you said, I'm nervous about this kind of next generation of leaders and adults that we're shaping now, because especially with those phones and those devices, there is little opportunity for creativity, and not even creativity, like you said, just communication. Like, they don't know how to effectively communicate, right? Because everybody is doing the texting, and that is what they believe is sufficient. I'm like, sometimes you just have to talk to people,
and people don't know how to do that. Like, now I was my mentors that I've been working with here, it was just a struggle with them talking to me. Like, pick up your phone and call me and tell me that there's this problem or that problem, right? Because this right here is not what I do. And now we're in a space where everything is being taken out of the schools, and it feels like it's almost a science experiment, because they're trying this type of math versus this type of math.
Yes.
It's not really conducive to young people really knowing what they're doing, because we are still catching up. Like, every year we're having to learn new things just to see where the school system has left, us at. But in terms of the art organization, LTYC, what do you think, what mark do you think LTYC has left, and where would you like to take it in terms of the footprint that you want to leave?
Great question. So in terms of the impact that we've made, I think that we have allowed a lot of students who would otherwise not have an arts program at their school to actually experience the arts. And again, not just a field trip, not just one workshop, but to really have a consistent arts program in their school, be it during the day or after school programming as well. So I feel like we have, and our numbers show that we've impacted quite a few students. I think last year it was a little over 10,000 students that we reached, not just in Baltimore, but in the state of Maryland and DC. So I think that really speaks to the impact. And in terms of where we're going, one of the things we were just talking about is workforce development, and really wanting students to be college and career ready, and how that manifests in arts programs. I have a specific focus around developing our teachers, our staff, our next generation of arts instructors and teachers, and just thinking about what credentials are needed, what training is needed, and so we're developing some programs around that to support.
And that's the Urban Art.
So we have Urban Arts Educators Academy, UAEA is what we call it, and it is our belief that there's a specific set of tools and strategies and resources really for people who are teaching the arts in an urban environment. And so
and that's a thing now.
It is.
It should have always been a thing, but it's now necessary to know the difference.
It is, and the thing that it has become widespread now is, even when we say urban, even 5-10 years ago, we thought very much, of course, urban, you think of city, right? But now we know that urban is cultural, and it's not necessarily connected to a city. There are suburban schools we go into, there are rural schools that we go into that are very quote unquote urban because of the culture of the school or the students. And so there's some tools that one has to have in order to be effective, and to really have meaning with those students.
So how is art therapy and all the different forms of it being incorporated, or is that a thought of being incorporated into that?
Yeah, I would say that our art therapy is not what you would necessarily call formal art therapy. It's funny, I have a friend of mine who's getting her degree in creative arts therapy. So we're not doing that, like I said, in a formal sense, but all of our trainings, are inclusive of restorative practice. And so that's something that we include, mindfulness. So there's a therapeutic, I guess, feel, you could say. And I'm one to believe that just really having relationships with students is a part of therapy, and mentoring and really pouring into these students is a part of, that therapy that they're getting to be able to heal from certain things. But we are doing some specific work in some specific communities, really through that one-on-one mentoring program that has those tools in it.
As long as I've been doing this, I didn't ever think that the therapeutic side of artistry needed to be brought into the classroom. I remember taking a workshop that Youth Works give you in the summertime, and they changed it a few years ago, so now it's like a whole workshop that you have to go through, as you know. And this man came, and it was about trauma therapy, and I was like, what does this have to do with Youth Works? But understanding how young people, or where young people are coming from, literally when they're walking through your door. Like, what home environment, what was their transport like from home to school? How did they sleep the night? Did they eat? Like, all those things contribute to how they become students in your class, or what their attitude will be in your class. And I never connected that until I took that workshop. So having the workshop that we had, say, the start of this year with LTYC, and having the UAEA as a part of that, it connected it to me, because I had a rough last year. Like, I had took a big break, and then coming back, it was really rough, and I didn't connect the emotional stuff that we all have as people to what children are going through. And it really made me question whether I was coming back this year, but also figure out what I could give beyond my talents to young people. And I had to start looking at how art has helped me out mentally and physically.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, we say this a lot when I'm, talking with principals and directors and things like that. It is very powerful for children to even see someone who looks like them stand in front of them and say, I have a radio show, or I sing with Soulful Symphony, or I'll just, filmed a movie over the weekend. That's powerful for them to see that. So that alone, before you even open your mouth and give them all of the other, tools and resources and gems that you have, just being you, and again, being a professional artist and being a community person, all these wonderful people I'm thinking about that we have on our staff is a statement in and of itself.
Is a testimony, definitely, because we know that going to art schools, but most students, because of budgets and changes, don't always get to connect with people who are working artists.
Right.
And I wouldn't even have thought that I could have a career as an artist outside of, spewing lines and painting a picture, had I not met teaching artists who were everyday people who I then got to walk around and see in my community, or get a chance to go into their communities and see what they actually do. But that's one of the reasons why I always stuck with this profession as being a teaching artist or art educator, because I wanted to give young people just that little open window that I got, because I didn't have any artists in my family. Everybody was blue collar or had some type of doctor or teacher career, but I didn't meet any creatives that was making it in the world. What are some of the things that you want people to know about LTYC that you think is not really out there about what we do?
I would just say that, I think a lot of people don't know what we do because we're still fairly small. Like I said, sometimes when I tell people how many staff people we have or how many schools, they're like, wow, you guys are huge, but we really are still quite small. A lot of people don't know about us, so I would definitely say our website is a good place to start just for information, which is www.ltyc.net. We are on social media, but I would there's so many things to share, just all of the different programs and ways, again, that we're trying to impact the community. One of the things I think maybe this speaks to your question is that we are very charitable. We're a nonprofit organization. We believe in supporting other organizations. We were just talking about today making a donation to another organization. We recently, of course, donated supplies to the Bahamas. But again, we're very community based, and we're all about impacting the people and helping. So I think that that's a great way. We are getting ready to start as of October 15th. It'll run until December 15th. We're going to have our annual love drive. And so anyone can donate money to the cause, or we are accepting brand new winter coats or clothing, household items, and canned goods. And so what we do is we pair up with several of our schools to identify some families that need some extra help and support, and then we give back to those families through the donations that we've received via the Love Drive.
That sounds like a lot. A lot of responsibility that LTYC has taken on outside of simply putting artists in classrooms. And we don't get those type of wraparound services with a lot of our organizations. One, because money is tight across the board. But in terms of your artist, what are the things that you look for when you're hiring on new artists or partnering with organizations to kind of bring arts into new schools or new districts?
Well, one of the things I would definitely say, which it connects to something you said earlier, is we are looking for people who are dedicated and will not, I guess, run in the other direction at the sign of trouble. As you mentioned, there are a lot of challenges in the schools, but what I always think about is for many of these students that we work with, they do not have a consistent role model or adult presence in their lives. And so we really, in addition to, of course, being talented and being able to manage a classroom well and some of those technical things, one of the things that I look for is somebody definitely who is passionate about what they do, passionate about youth, but also has a sense of commitment and dedication to the work, because none of us are clearly getting rich off of being an educator or being in the arts. Neither one of those careers. I always laugh at myself. I'm like, you pick the arts and education. Like neither one of them, are lucrative. Right. So you have to be in it because your heart is in it, and so you can get that from people with just talking to them. So I try to meet and at least interview or speak to in person everybody that we hire, so that I can just kind of get a sense of them. We're very interpersonal with everybody.
So this takes me to my next question. So you have these artists that are full of passion, and this is something that whenever we meet every month, we talk about being full of passion, but also now you're connecting them with parents and a school system. And what advice do you give to artists going into classrooms or going into environments? Because all of our schools are in different environments, different levels of resources and all those things. So what advice across the board do you give the artists going into classrooms, maybe for the first time or after a couple years?
That's a great question. I definitely would say do your research. That's one thing. Even when we are approaching schools to want to have programs in their schools, we have to do the research. Who's the principal, like we were just speaking about, what's their history, what's the culture and climate of the school, what's the arts culture look like, do they have an arts culture, how do the teachers, sometimes you can poke around with social media now and see, what are the teachers, or even like you mentioned, the parents, what are they saying about X school, how do they feel about it? So I think the more that you can kind of go into the situation with that, you kind of know what you're walking into and you're not walking into it blindly. And the other piece of advice that I try to give, and it's easier said than done, but it's just that particularly when we're talking about the first couple of weeks of school, it goes back to that flexibility. You got to be open. You can't fall apart if class was supposed to start at 10:15 and the teacher was late, and now your class is from only 10:25 and it's only 30 minutes, and you thought you were gonna, you can't fall apart about stuff like that. We have to be, again, because we are partnering with a school that allows for a very interesting sometimes relationship and dynamic, but we are here, LTYC is a human services organization. So at the end of the day, we all are, from leadership to the staff, we are here to serve.
And that phrase has a different connotation out in the world, but to put it that way is interesting, to say the least. But it does speak to all the different personalities that you come across in just one school day, or the course of the school year. So many different parents and administrators and our staff on top of that.
Yes, but it's a lot.
Trying to navigate that. One of the things that I purposely implemented this year was I looked back at all the teachers that I had, and the ones that stood out to me, and what did they do to leave an impact. So every Monday, I dress in their uniform.
Oh, wow.
One of my teachers in elementary school, she wore our uniform every day.
Oh.
Now, I'm not there yet.
You ain't doing
that's
that every day. Yeah, you said
a
not every
different type
day,
of
but I give you
discipline.
Monday.
Right, I give you Monday. So I chose things that they did, and I kind of implemented that into how I teach.
I love that. I think I'm going to do that as an exercise with our staff. Thank you for that.
And that's not my fault if anybody watching. But it was just, I needed to figure out how to connect with them on a different way because I have younger children than what I'm used to. So I had to figure out how to catch them. In the beginning, I used to wear tennis shoes because I worked with high school students. So what do I catch their eye with? But I don't have Jordan money anymore.
Right.
So I can't do that. But what can I do to connect with them? We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with Miss Dana, Miss Carr. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. So this year,
First they love you, then desert you. Leave with a plate full with no spoon. Ain't no space, I can't escape negativity. I got used to the taste. I've been bad, burned and fucked over, but remain strong through the Passover. Kicking haters out of the way like masked over. Roll up, sip something, let it pass over. Who would I be? It ain't the man to me to let the next man take advantage of me. When that storm come, no pan I see. Get with it, not without it, then you'll see. I peep the haters, they know I'm greater. That's why they buzzing for the elevator, but I can't save you. The weed too loud on the pedal stool. Don't carry favors. Always got your hand out demanding favors. When I just looked down, now you need more paper. I can't breathe, give me 3 feet. I never let y'all be the death of me. When my patients run that, yeah, nigga OT, cause they wanna see me bound like I'm an NCT. 6 words, get the fuck away from me. Say I help you out if you can help yourself. I keep it G till I DIE. Now excuse me while I get back to PC. HOP ain't losing sleep while you turn out.
Now listen to BeExposedRadio.com. Check out this fire flashback.
We need to relearn what it is to be these bosses and how we conduct ourselves as business-minded individuals and just people in general. I let my gut, and if I call it gut or God or whatever, I'm led by that energy. I know where it comes from. I know where it's, taking me, and you have to figure out what is important to you, and don't play this game. It's a game that we've learned to play, this chess game, and life is not a chess game. Life is real, bones, flesh, blood, decisions.
Make sure you check out the Artist Exchange Show every Monday and Friday at 2 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com.
This unknown to find who we really are. Crash into something new. Take a break from our broken heart. Talk with the hip, tell me you lie. I think we should go for another round. Baby, try not to say too much. Let your love come down. If you wanna rule, there's some rules you gotta live by. Live by. Stay true to your cool, make a move. Don't wait on nobody else. And if it feels like a melody, sing a song, be my radio. And if you follow me there, I'll follow you back. Let the night unfold. I can tell that she can't get enough. Show enough, she couldn't get the feels off from me. I know she couldn't get the feels off from me. Touching hands till we dance in the dark. Show enough, she couldn't get the feels off from me.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live on BeExposedRadio.com. Joining me today is Miss Carr, Miss Dana Carr, Executive Director of LTYC, Leaders of Tomorrow Youth Center. And the questions that I had for you today were more, what do I do? Like, How do you connect? How do you, and not just with children. So now I'm going to talk more about parents. You know, when you're in a space where you're now having to deal with young people and the parents, because sometimes you have to do that. And this was my first week having to interact with parents and not knowing what to say, because normally you don't have that type of access to parents.
Right.
But this school allows me to have that type of access. And what role does the parents play in arts education?
Yes, I love everything that you're saying, and it is actually one of our goals, because to be honest with you, like you just mentioned, we don't have a lot of access to parents, and we want to change that. Very often what happens is that, you know, the kids will be crazy about their teacher, you know, Mr. Nate, he teaches theater and I love him, and and they don't know anything about LTYC. And so we try to, I've even been in a school, it's funny, where, you know, we had a school a few years ago that had multiple programs. We had a theater, a dance, a music program, and they put on a showcase. Our teachers put on a showcase, and the principal got up, never said, you know, acknowledge LTYC, never thanked anybody. I mean, not that I needed to get up there and speak, but it's like, again, the parents have no knowledge that we're even in the schools, and so
they just look at it as it's something else in the resource department.
Exactly. So we're trying to kind of figure out some additional ways that we can connect to parents. We have some initiatives like I think a father and son breakfast and a mother and daughter tea, and some things that we are working on to connect to our parent community, because we do want them to know who LTYC is, just again to be able to offer additional resources and supports. We have an entire parent engagement team, if you will, and parent engagement workshops, like you said, that not only we have some ones that are specific to the arts, like how you can bring out your child's potential, that sort of thing, but then we just have some about kind of I don't want to say basic parenting tips, but just parenting tips generally that don't have anything to do with the arts. Just again, with us being in the youth development space for 15 years, you know, we feel like we can offer some support and, as you mentioned, wraparound resources for parents. So I think it a lot of times comes down to the administrator and the leader in the building, and how they choose to nurture the relationship that we have. Like if they, you know, put us on their website or their Facebook page, or if it's in the program when they come to the school, like we have to have buy-in all around, because otherwise, like I said, it's just not going to resonate for the school community. I was excited because we have our luncheon coming up. We have a partners luncheon to celebrate our 15-year anniversary. And it's a time where we really celebrate the organization. We have current partners, we have potential partners that we invite donors. And this year we will have some video footage from different stakeholders, if you will, some of our teachers, students, some of our artists, former teachers who are now fully practicing their art. And one of the ones I was so excited to have her on Saturday at the office is a parent. And not only does she have a child who goes to the school now currently where LTYC has a program, she has a couple other children who are older who had been at the school several years ago, and there was an LTYC program there at that time.
So she sees the cycle.
Yeah, she's like, you know, really grateful that her child has the arts, because she was like, before you guys came to the school, they didn't have anything. So
I think that is so important, because I remember I went to public school and elementary school, but it was more of a charter school, and our principal was really adamant. She was a writer. My teachers were writers and artists, and they all did things outside of being teachers. But then middle school and high school, I went to art schools, so it was really infused in me. But I see my friends who may have just got into their artistry or are looking to be in it, and it's just they didn't have the resources or the access to it.
Right.
And I see the difference in the educational system in terms of it being a part of the day or just like an after school program. And it's nothing wrong with after school, because if you don't get it during the day, that's a great time to catch them. Right. But after school, they feel like that's their time. So it's harder to hit them if they don't have anything connecting that during the school day.
Exactly.
How do you, in terms of going at schools or just soliciting new schools, what's the significance in having during the school day versus just after school?
Yeah, I mean, during the school day, you just you have more access to them. Like you said, they're more engaged because after school they want to be doing other things. You know, quite honestly, a lot of times after school programs are initially, I think, a lot of ways and a lot of times built to support parents who are working, right? So kids sometimes don't even want to be there. But we try to make programs that kids do want to come to the program, but the in-school programs just allow for so much more access and just because of the time that you're able to spend with students, you know, seeing them every day or even you know, over the whole span of a year for a few hours a week or whatever it looks like. Every schedule's different at each school. You have much more time to build a relationship. Whereas if I'm doing an after school program, I only see the students once a week for an hour. Sure, you can still build relationships, but it just takes a little bit longer. So I think that having it as a part of the school day, again, it's our belief that should be a given for every student to have, and that's the thing that we go in and offer multiple disciplines. A lot of most schools will have a visual arts or typically a music, but we can go in and do media arts or dance or theater, and it also allows for students to have choice, and so again, I told you I couldn't do math, I couldn't draw either. I was always in singing and performing arts, couldn't dance either, but acting and singing. And so if I had an option between visual arts and theater, I would have taken theater every time, but I didn't always have a choice. I had to take visual arts. Right. That's what they had.
And I think still the exposure has helped me, even when it's subject matter that I don't necessarily like.
Oh, yeah.
It really exposes you to the appreciation of it.
Right.
And for those students who aren't really into what I'm teaching, I try to push the appreciation for it because or connected to something that they could be. That goes back to the workforce development. The arts have helped me with time management and just presentation. I had a horrible speech problem growing up, and instead of my mother keep putting me in these speech programs, they thought that maybe a theater program would help me. Whereas I would get the confidence to talk while still learning how to speak.
That's awesome.
And I don't think people realize just those wraparound services that the arts can help you with.
Definitely.
Like I'm having to help children learn how to read a script, and that's helping them in their other classes to kind of get appreciation for reading as well. And I don't think people always look at the arts for that benefit as well.
Yeah.
We're going to take another quick break. In the next segment, we're going to talk more about what events the LTYC has coming up and how people can reach out. This is our last segment with Ms. Dana. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BEXPOSEDRadio.com.
Listen to this flashback of Skyline Radio Show.
So where we at? Where we talk about the effects and what's going on in these schools.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand. Just real briefly, I just want to talk a little bit about what people say bullying is or is not. So bullying comes in many forms. It's a teasing, it's the cyberbullying, it's the texting, it's the phone calls, it's the posting of pictures and people's personal information to pretty much cause them harm, to have them feel insecure. It's the sex assaults that people actually put out there. There are physical assaults, and there are mental assaults and emotional assaults. And what I like to remind individuals that any aggressive behavior towards anyone that is unwanted and unwarranted, and an individual asks you to stop. Let's stop there. Stop.
And they should be respecting that.
Respecting that and respecting yourself, because when you're able to respect another person, you're able to respect yourself. And the way that you're able to show that respect is that you know that you have a gift and you know you're uniquely made and that you matter, and then you also acknowledge that the next person beside you matters as well.
Right.
And we lose that sometimes. Bullying is a behavior that underestimates the lives and legacy of you. I'm sure when they was bullying me, and I'm sure when they was bullying you, they didn't understand who you're going to become later on. I didn't know.
Right, because I'm popping. I can't. All right, let me tell you, all those people who felt like they wanted to say whatever to me, look at me now.
now. It's like, no, y'all don't understand, but I've been through some things, okay?
And you know what? No. I applaud you and I salute you, because a lot of times we do not take the time to say, I'm okay and I'm okay with me and there's nothing wrong with me and I'm amazing and I'm blessed and I'm strong and I matter.
Join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. for Skyline Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm here with Miss Dana Carr, Executive Director of LTYC, Leaders of Tomorrow Youth Organization. Before we went to break, I wanted to ask her a little bit more about what's going on, but I think I'm going to end the interview like that. But I want to ask one more question in terms of just arts education. It's not a surprise, and it's been in the news a little bit, that they're kind of turning out arts educators into more integrated art, meaning eventually if you're not a registered teacher, you'll be kind of allocated in some areas of the arts right now to doing workshops and maybe after school programs. How is LTYC gearing up for that change? Because not all of us are registered teachers.
Yes, so we're doing a couple of different things. Been working with some people and doing some research, and so two of the things that have come out of that work and those conversations is one, well, really two ways to be able to create two different, I guess you could say, tracks that will lead to a credential, a certification of some sort. One of them would be to support those teachers who are fine arts teachers and who want to be fine arts teachers in districts, and helping them to go through whatever that certification process is to become certified, because there are quite a few people and there are programs that support teachers who will come under a conditional certificate and have to be, they have to be certified within a 2-year time frame, but they're not really a whole lot of programs that support the arts teachers specifically. A lot of that focuses on the core content areas, the math, the science, the social studies, the English. So that's one. The other thing that we are looking at is to create a certification that is for a community artist and what that would look like. Because the thing about it is that not everybody wants to be a district teacher. You know what I mean? Not everybody wants to go into a district and be, like you said, a certified teacher. That's not everybody's path. However, like you said, because things are processes are becoming more difficult, districts are doing more things to vet people and kind of want to know, well, what have you done, how do I know that you're effective in the classroom, and those sorts of things. We're thinking about another kind of track that would allow people to have another credential, but they wouldn't be a certified teacher, but they would be, I don't know what we would call it, but we're thinking something connected to a community artist, a teaching artist, that would give them a certificate, a stamp of approval, some credentials, something to put behind their name, so that I was just in a meeting today. If you and I both say we're teaching artists, we both have experience in theater, we're this, we're that, and we're both being interviewed for a position, if I had this said credential that says, hey, I've taken this coursework, or I've had this training, or I've gone through this institute and you haven't, that would be the thing that would propel me to get the position, over you, that there's something that we can
So something similar to like an associate's degree.
Similar.
And maybe not the 4-year degree that can kind of still integrate me into the school versus because I'll be honest, some of the things that we do here at LTYC I've never had to do before, like the idea of a lesson plan. What are you talking about?
Right.
But I learned it because I've watched other people do it. And it had to be just learning the organization of a classroom. You have to learn those things. But just doing certain things, we're already kind of ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
In many cases.
We're high quality. My background was in the classroom for 12 years, and so when I came into this position in 2015, there were a lot of things that I guess changed or added to, or and so I mean there's no way that anybody could be in a classroom in my mind and not have a lesson plan. like, what are you doing? You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, that was
Literally,
my
what are you
pushback.
doing?
What are you doing? What were you doing, Nate, before this when you were teaching it and never
It was still a lesson plan, but you
It
know,
was in your head.
right, because I normally just have what I want to teach them, and then I organize it that way.
Yeah.
But then the idea of a lesson plan, but knowing what is actually being asked of in a lesson plan.
Well, and the thing about it is that I think for a lot of our staff, they come in and the things that are inherent in a lesson plan or the things that are just needed to be effective, a lot of people have innately. And they didn't even know, like an assessment, right? An assessment measures whether or not the student met the objective. So though you may not have had, you or anybody else may not have had that specific terminology, chances are when you taught a class prior to, you know, coming to LTYC, at the end of the class, you had the students do something, you know, or write something or whatever it was that you could look at and say, they got it or they didn't.
Right.
So now whether you know or not, that was an assessment. So I hope that, you know, again, under my leadership, we've also given our staff some, you know, teacher jargon, you know, if you will, so that again, when we go out into these schools, we are seen as a reputable quality partner. And it's not just like, oh, this is the artist, they just coming to fill the time.
Because we're being watched by the school as well and the district as well. So when they come in the room and you all aren't there, we have the vocabulary to be able to express to them and see, I know what I'm doing.
Exactly.
I just had to, for the first time, write out and basically an agenda for the whole month. And I was like, I'm thinking it's a lesson plan. Like, you probably do this for the whole month.
Right.
But it was just the agenda, goal, and objective, and it made it easier, even easier for me to look at it over the course of a month versus just that week that I'm doing, because now I can see over the course of a month how to connect things that I'm doing right now to what they're going to learn. So by the time I get to that point, they've already got some insight. And that just made it that much more easier. And then little tactics like that, I think, and techniques like that really make it easier and will kind of make that not quite a registered teacher seem more valuable.
Right.
And validate them beyond just being in a classroom.
Absolutely.
But I am hopeful about my relationship with LTYC, because it really has made me look at my artistry. Now I'm thinking about curriculum that I could build around things that I want to do, because our jobs aren't promised to us. At any moment they can say, we don't want arts in the school right now.
They could.
We're going to stick to this curriculum. That doesn't work for us. But I'm thinking about what will happen and how I can work as a community artist, as an individual, and how this organization now, and picking Joanne's mind a little bit more, and trying to figure out how to, you know, do things on my own, like workshops and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Aaron Maben, who of course is one of our instructors, is a phenomenal example of that. He's written a whole curriculum about something specific that he's very passionate about, which is using artist activism. And so he's written a book. He's got a coloring book. He's got, you know, trainings that he's done. So I think that just speaks to not really us. I mean, not that because he had all of that inside of him before he came to us. But I think he, you know, there's a little bit of something from coming to us that now he feels, you know, just completely open and free to be able to
it validates you.
Yeah, and
because
it makes it great for us because we can say, hey, look at one of our instructors.
Because we're not college level professors. We don't think about, you know, the residuals of our talent in an educational setting.
Exactly.
And that really, the year and a half here has really kind of helped me kind of manage what I want to do in my artistry.
Right.
What are some of the events that we have coming up? I know we are celebrating the 15th year.
Yes. So we have 3 events, I guess, that I will share with the audience. One is our Partners Luncheon, which is October 15th. It is from 10:30 to 1 p.m. It will be at Center Stage. Again, just a celebratory event for our supporters, our donors, our partners we want to work with, our partners we do work with. So if anybody out there is interested, you can go to www.ltyc.net or send an email to info at ltyc.net. The other event that we have coming up, and is every third Friday, and this is a show that I'm sure artists listen to, and so this is great, is what we call Future Fridays. It is every third Friday. It is at the 5 and Dime Ale House, and it is usually, until we change it, the karaoke edition. Sometimes we do an open mic, but we've been finding that people really enjoy karaoke, and so we have a good time. There are drink specials, there's food there, and there's networking and artists there. So that again is every third Friday. Our next one will be October the 18th at the 5 and Dime Ale House, and it's from 8 to 11 p.m. And again, all of that information will be on our website, www.ltyc.net. And the last thing is the Love Drive, which will be in full effect from October 15th to December 15th. And again, we're taking donations, monetary donations, or new winter clothing and coats, canned goods, and household items to give back to our families and communities in need.
And she's also wearing some merch.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So we have an online apparel store. Thank you for reminding me. It is ltycshop.net. And so we have some fun quotes. We're actually getting ready to release some Greek colors and quotes for people who are in frats and sororities, in honor of some of the HBCUs and homecomings that are coming up. But all of that is on ltycshop.net. Every single dime that we receive from selling this merchandise goes back into our development fund and helps support field trips, scholarships, supplies for all of our programs. So you buy a t-shirt, you're directly helping to impact the youth.
Awesome. I'm really excited about participating in some of the things. I don't come out to everything, but I try to push it out as much as I can because I need rest in my old age.
Right.
But how else could we help? I know right now we're doing like 15 increments.
Yes.
Giving.
So, yep, absolutely. So giving, giving is you bring that up, is a great way to support. Doesn't have to be a lot. We've asked all of our staff, family members, supporters to give $15 in honor of our 15th year anniversary. We started our celebration on March 1st, and it'll go to March 1st of 2020. We have some additional events coming up even next year to continue the celebration. So yes, if you can, again, there's a donate button on our website. We take Cash App. Our Cash App is the money sign LTYC. So there are multiple ways to give. If you only have $5 to give, we'll take whatever people have, because again, every little bit or big bit means something. It is a journal we can buy for a student in a creative writing class. Is a movie ticket, a play ticket. So everything means something, and will go to a good cause.
So my question that I always ask at the end of each interview is, what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self? Not to prevent anything from happening, but to kind of soften that blow a little bit.
My 17-year-old self, what advice would I give? Just to, I would say, slow down and to listen more. To be more reflective.
You was hard-headed though?
Yeah, I was very hard-headed. And again, I'm going back to this 12-year-old daughter of mine. I'm getting it back. And I'm just like, she doesn't want to listen. She doesn't get it. And I tell my husband all the time, I said, just wait, 10 years from now, she's going to be so grateful for, she says she can't do anything because she has to get off the phone by a certain time of night. I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know, who are these parents that are letting their child sit on the phone all night? Like, their rules, like, so anyway. I would say take my time, be reflective, listen more to my parents and the people who telling me things that knew better, and I just thought I knew everything, and I wish that I would have at 17 read more books. I love reading, and now I've become susceptible to Audible, so I listen to them because I'm in the car, I feel like all the time, but I just love a book and being able to read a book.
Some of my older students say that, but I still say, with all the audibles you read, and still at least read one book.
Yes.
Every now and again, because so we get our reading skills.
I love
intact.
it, and I wish I would have gotten kind of in a you know how you just do things and just comes as second nature. Reading a book was not that for me at 17, nor is it now. But I wish that I had kind of implemented that practice early so that it would just be something that would be second nature now, because I miss just having or making the time, I guess, to be able to read. It's just so much out there that you can get from books, and I love it. So.
And a teacher just gave me some advice. Even if you're having trouble with getting a child to read, find something that they like, a topic matter, because they'll still read it, and it'll get them in the habit of reading. And then eventually something else will cross that path.
Absolutely.
But this has been the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Awesome interview with Miss Dana. Next time, I'll bring a couple more of them in there. We've had a number of the artist teachers coming in, but we're going to fill up more. I have a lot to play with in terms of people now, so I'm going to start inviting them on. But thank you for coming out.
Of course, thank you for
having me. We'll post those events as the other events we always post, but I'll post the new event, the Giving Drive, up as well. So again, this has been the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Next show is tomorrow, and that's Talk Lately with Monty. So definitely tune in if you want some laughs and some drama, and that's tomorrow at 7 p.m. This has been the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com. So thank you, bro.
White keys only have this bitch jumping.
Okay. If I sit around, hold up. Look. If I sit around, hold up. Yeah. Rebel rough. Let's do it.
If I sit around, I'ma smoke some more. Wasn't even thinking about smoke before, but I'm in my head and I'm in the bed. Don't know who I am, like I'm wearing a mask. Work them old, tell them where the cash. If you wear the cash, tell them where the cash. If you playing for you, gon' run it back. Don't make promises, but I promise that. Don't promise me, cause I ain't into that. Fell in love with that and got hurt from that. Now it's all over and the curtains back. Can't see you not noticing that. I'm letting it go, it ain't holding me back. Yeah, I'm on dice, but ain't come for the crap. Drinking with uncle, we only do jack. How I'm alive, I thank God for that. Praying about it, things getting better. Open it up with my name on the letter. Why you crazy about it? Saying whatever, you shy to be you. You know you gotta be you. Sometimes I need privacy too. Yeah, you know I ride. You know I ride, and you know you ride for me too. Yeah, you know I. Look, you like getting that hit for real. When it's me and Murray, just us, we chill. I'm in a rush to get off to get you. Never ever had to floss to get you. Pay the dues that it cost to kiss you. Rug burns on the carpet with you.
Oh yeah. One throw this in there. Had to dedicate this to the homie out of New Orleans. Break. Said she wanna bump that. You wanna do it? Go ahead, do it.
Or if you made them, take care of them.
Yeah, that's
period.
The real. Right. That's the real deal.
It's period.
Right. And all that old money shouldn't go toward this, money should go to. If the child is with one of the parents 24/7, 7 days a week, you don't even come get your child every day. You come get your child once a month maybe, or once every 3 months.
Right.
You cannot dictate where that money goes, especially if the child